Steve. Man, you're in the blues vibe today.
Well, yeah, I've been working a lot on melody lately, trying to, sometimes I'm in a shred mood and sometimes I'm whatever, and I've really been trying to work on melodic connection. That's kind of been fun for me.
That's really cool, dude.
Yeah.
Hey, thanks for taking time out to do this.
Yeah, absolutely.
People really enjoy these live sessions, and I want to make sure everybody can hear us. Okay, can you hear me, Steve Stine?
Yeah, it looks like the levels look okay. I'm looking over there at the levels.
All right. So, hey, if you guys
or something,
welcome to this live session, and if you want to make sure you can hear us, just go ahead and put in, or I hope you can hear us. Please put in the comments. Yes, I can hear you. Yes, you can hear Steve.
Yes. Hello.
You're
testing.
Okay, that just freaked me out because is your amp on?
Yeah. Can you hear it?
Right. Okay. Yeah.
You should be able to.
I'm good. Sweet. I think I was talking over you.
Oh.
It takes like a little second for it to come back to me after I stop speaking. All right, guys. So, do what?
I said, "Oh, I got you. I can hear you just fine. I'm not sure what the deal is, but
whatever. Hopefully, you guys can hear us. That's the most important part. Thank you for being here. Really appreciate it. Showing up again. We're doing this fretboard workshop. We're just walking through your fretboard and the scale patterns, how everything connects together, chords, how all this stuff is related. This is a big point of confusion for a lot of guitar players. Hopefully, we're going to be able to clear up a lot of questions that you might have. If you have questions, please put them in the comments box. Guys, if you want to learn, today we're going to be talking about the Lego connection, which I think is fascinating, so of how these scale patterns, scale positions click together like Legos. And so if you want to learn that, keep watching. If you want to learn it even faster, you can check out Steve's fretboard courses. He's got a couple of those at guitar-Zoom.com. There's a fretboard mastery course. There's an ultimate fretboard. It's called Unlocking the Fretboard Connection. Unlocking the Fretboard Connection. It's one of the best-selling courses ever. It's just one of those things where people are just like, yes, I wish I had this course 20 years ago when I first started. Things would be so much more clear. So both of those are available for you at guitarzoom.com. So let's talk about this old Lego connection, Steve.
Well, if you again, in my years of teaching and even in my years of trying to learn how to do this stuff, there's really two approaches you take to the guitar. Either you learn from a note perspective, like you learn all the notes on your guitar first and you learn how to read notes and that sort of thing. I think most people probably take the approach that I take, where you learn shapes on the guitar and you don't really understand exactly what you're doing in the beginning, but it doesn't really matter because you're learning how to play. Now, that doesn't mean at some point you don't want to put logic to what you're doing, because, of course, that's always a good thing. But we learn by visualization. Like, we learn that a G chord looks like this, or a D chord looks like this, or whatever it might be. We might not know why it's a G chord or a D chord, but we learn what the shapes are. Well, when we start learning scales, one of the first scales we learn how to play is what's called the minor pentatonic. And oftentimes we learn, like if I wanted to play in the key of A, I would go to the 5th fret because this note is A, and I would play a position that looks like this. Okay? And again, I had no idea why I was learning that. Somebody told me it was A minor pentatonic and I could use it for my rock soloing and stuff like that, so that's what I did. So what I did was I visualized and memorized the movement of my fingers. Like on the 6th string, I've got 5 to 8. And then on the next string, I've got 5 to 7, 5 to 7, 5 to 7. So I memorized that I had 3 of those in a row. And then I had 5, 8, 5, 8. And I'm talking about the fret numbers, of course, because I don't have 8 fingers on this hand. So I've got 5, 8, 5, 7, 5, 7, 5, 7, 5, 8, 5, 8. Now, if I really look at what I'm actually doing, what I'm playing are the notes A, C, D, E, and G. There are 5 of them, hence the name pentatonic.
Okay, so that's a big thing right there. I hope everybody caught that. I guess everybody knows. Maybe don't. Depends on where you're at in your journey. But the pentatonic has 5 notes. Diatonic has 7 notes. Pentatonic, 5, diatonic, 7. And those 5 notes right there are you take those 5 notes and you can put them all the way across your fretboard. And so for that particular A minor pentatonic, right? Is that what you were just playing?
Yeah, I was
Those are
playing A minor pentatonic. Yep.
those are the 5 notes, guys, and they just repeat.
Well, and let me show that. So if I was playing, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 notes. A, C, D, E, and G. So after I play this note right here, which is G, and I go to the next note, that note is an A. So I'm going to wind up, again, step 1 is I memorize 5, 8, 5, 7, 5, 7, 5, 7, 5, 8, 5, 8. But step 2 is looking at what the notes really are. And just understanding that I'm not playing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 notes. I'm playing 5 notes that get repeated in what we call octaves. So if I just watch this, and again, it's okay if you don't memorize all this right now, but if I play A, C, D, E, G, A, C, D, E, G, A, C, and then I run out of strings. Okay, so I'm playing 2.5 essentially octaves of the same notes, and then I run out of strings. And it's nice to know that because I want to see where the overlap happens. I want to see that A is here, and A is here, and A is here, as a matter of fact. Right? So A, C, D, E, G, A, C, D, E, G, A, C, and then I run out of strings. So again, that will play, as you move further into this, it's nice to know all of those notes, but just understand that that's what you're actually doing here, is playing the same 5 notes over and over and over in different octaves. So I'll keep going, cool. But is there anything you want to say?
No, I'm excited to see what you're going to do next.
Okay, so perfect. So if we think about it, the guitar, we've got all of these frets, and if we learned how to play this A minor pentatonic right here, okay, we've got everything covered from 5 to 8. Okay, we're playing all the notes that we can play. We don't have anything down here, and we don't have anything up here. So if I think about the 6th string of the guitar as being like a piano, okay, just the 6th string is a piano, right? So if I was to take those notes that I just said, A, C, D, E, and G, which I know I can play all the way through here, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to place those on the 6th string, just the 6th string. And here's what it's going to look like. I've got A here, I've got C on the 8th fret, which I had before, but now I've got D at the 10th fret. The same note, so I have A, C, D, E, and G. So it's on 5, 8, 10, 12, and 15. Now, if you use your ears, those are the same pitches. Okay? Now, they're going to sound subtly different, okay, because the string thicknesses are different, and so the pitch sounds a little bit different, okay? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. What's the word for that again? Timbre.
Tone. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Timbre. So the timbre changes a little bit. Anyway, so just so you understand that. So this is G, and so is this. And they are going to sound a little different because of the thickness of the string, but the pitch is the same. Okay? So here's what happens is if I was to take those notes A, C, D, E, and G, what I can do is I can build this pentatonic scale downward from each one of those notes on the 6th string. And that's how we create what's called positions or patterns, whatever you want to call it, boxes on the guitar. Because we have 6 strings, we don't just have one string of a piano. We want to take those notes and we want to build them down. So essentially what happens is I want to take those notes that I'm playing, A, C, D, E, and G, and I want to play them all the way through all 6 strings from that A. And then if I want to get out of this spot on the guitar, the only way to do that is I got to move. So if I move over to this note C, I can build those notes all the way down, but I got to start on C. Obviously, I can't start on A anymore unless I go back to the 5th fret, right? Mm-hmm. But it doesn't matter what order they're in. There's still an A in here somewhere, but I'll get to it. So here's what happens. The second position, or the second box, or whatever you want to call it, would look like this. I'd play 8 to 10, 7 to 10, 7 to 10, 7 to 9, 8 to 10, 8 to 10. And again, you can watch this, you can rewind it, whatever you need to do to memorize that. But that's the shape that I'd be playing is 8, 10, 7, 10, 7, 10, 7, 9, 8, 10, 8, 10. Okay? And the
That's
notes
the
I'd be playing.
second position of the pentatonic minor scale, A minor pentatonic.
Right, because let me go through the notes here. We'd have C, D, E, G, A, C, D, E, G, A, C, D, and so on. So if I play this, listen to this. See how it's the same notes? It looks different, but it's the same notes. It's the same notes. So what happens is you've got this
so
first position, we'll call it, this first box that starts on 5th fret. You've got this second box that starts on the 8th fret. Now the 8th fret is starting on C, and again, C isn't necessarily the note we want to target, but there are A's in that box. The hard part for a lot of players is how to visualize these positions, how to memorize them. Well, you memorize them independently. Like the first thing that you do, and I used to take a piece of paper when I was in high school, I'd sit in my study hall, and I would draw out 5, 8, 5, 7, 5, 7, 5, 7, 5, 8, 5, 8. I would just study that. Okay? For me, a lot of my practice didn't come from playing until I got home from work or school or whatever it was I was doing. But while I was doing whatever I was doing and wasn't with my guitar, I would sit and study these charts.
Man,
Yeah.
let me just push pause for a second. That is, guys, did you hear what he just said? That's one of the most powerful little nuggets that you're going to ever hear, ever. I had a teacher tell me that, piano teacher, when I was a kid, and I didn't really understand what the heck she was talking about until much later. But man, the most successful musicians that I know, regardless of the instrument, have that exact mentality of, I can practice even if my instrument isn't in my hand. And that's exactly what you just said. And I want everybody, I don't want people just to gloss over what you just said, because that's really, really powerful. Can you just like say that again so everybody gets it?
Yeah, and here's the shortcut that I tell people. If you can see it, you can play it. If you can see it, whatever it is, you can play it. It doesn't mean it can be musical, right? That's a whole other conversation, right? But if you can see it, you can play it correctly. If you can see a G chord in your head, if you can see a D chord in your head, if you can see a B flat bar chord, whatever it might be, if you can't see it, obviously you can't play it. Now you could look it up, right? But that's all time consuming. So I would spend a lot of time visualizing things in my head when my guitar wasn't around. I would draw out charts or whatever it might be, and I would just sit and I would study and imagine in my head. And I would even do this when I would practice. Like I would take a chart of my A minor pentatonic positions and I would set it in front of me or hang it on my wall or whatever I would do. And then as I was playing, I would stare at that chart and think about different ways of moving that I couldn't see when I was just looking at my guitar. And this is my point to today's Lego connection thing, is that oftentimes when we play, we practice playing positions up and down. Like our teacher tells us, okay, and they're not wrong. They're not wrong. But I'll play pentatonic the first position and I'll go and maybe make an exercise out of it or whatever. And then the second position, maybe I learn the second position. And make an exercise out of that, which is great. It's a wonderful way of learning how to play. But oftentimes what happens with players is they learn to play, I always call it with blinders on, like when they put those things on horses so they can't look around. Yeah. And all we can see is that one station at which we're playing at that moment. And if we wanted another thing, we have to pull out of that. We have to remove ourselves from that situation and then put ourselves in another situation. So we can't really see the overall flow of the fretboard. So what the Lego connection really is about is if you think about this first position, and of course you have to memorize it. Like if you don't know what I'm talking about right now, you really need to memorize this first. But if I visualize 5, 8, 5, 7, 5, 7, 5, 7, 5, 8, 5, 8, I really have two pieces to this position. I have the left half, which is all fives, and I have the right half, which is 8, 7, 7, 7, 8, 8. So I'm just taking this position, I'm just cutting it in half. One half is over there, the other half is over here. And of course, when I play it, I'm using both halves. But I want to visualize this left half, which I'm going to call the front side, and then the 8, 7, 7, 7, 8, 8, which is the back side. Because the way scales work on the guitar, you know, even if you don't know all the names of the notes and all that sort of thing, is that they have to click together like a puzzle piece or like a Lego piece. They have to click together. They can't be shifted over. So if my notes are A, C, D, E, and G, they have to maintain A, C, D, E, and G all the way around the guitar. It doesn't matter what order I play them in. That's half of the fun of music. But I can't all of a sudden play G flat or an F sharp, because then I'm moving out of that realm into a new realm, right? Maybe I know a scale that uses those, and that's great, but that's not what we're talking about right now. We're talking about A minor pentatonic. So if I think about these two positions that I just mentioned, the first position, I've got my 5s, and I've got this 8, 7, 7, 7, 8, 8. Well, when I move to the second position, the front side of the second position is going to be the back side of the first position. They're not like each other. They are the same thing. So the front side of the second position is going to be 8, 7, 7, 7, 8, 8. It can't all of a sudden be something else, because then I'd be playing in a different scale.
Got it.
So when I play the second position, of course, the second position's got a back side as well, which would connect to the third position. The front side of the third position would connect to the back side of the second position, and so on. And again, don't be an all-or-nothing human being, which many of us are, where unless you learn all 5 of your positions, you can't play the guitar. And what I suggest to people is learn the crap out of the first position. Like, don't even worry about the second position until you really can see and can move through that first position. Because trying to memorize 5 positions and not really being very good at any of them is less successful than being really good at one position.
Yeah.
So when you decide it's time to move on to that second position and do what I'm talking about now, make sure that you're really good with that first position, because you're going to need it as a reference to learn the second position. And third position, again, there's no reason to even worry about a third position or third box or whatever you want to call it until you've really got the first and second ones down. Otherwise, you have a bunch of useless information. And I never want you to do that, because it doesn't do you any good. Like, I'd rather have you know really 2 positions really great and have some fun than go, well, I don't, you know, the music starts and I panic and I don't really know what to do. So here's the deal, putting this together.
Yeah.
First position, my second position, and they are locked together like a Lego because of 8, 7, 7, 7, 8, 8. And what I like to do then, this is what I still do, but certainly back in the day, is I would practice visualizing both of those positions. I'd look at my guitar, make sure I can see them, and then I would practice moving around using that thread in the center, right? Using the front side of this position, the back side of this position, and I would use that thread and I would move to that first position, or I would shift up to that second position. So now really what I'm doing is I'm looking at the first and second positions as one position, with this thread in the center.
Got it. It's like a hinge on a door.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing, is it really is like a Lego or a puzzle piece, you know, probably more so a puzzle piece, because you know, Legos, you can stack them different ways, of course, but a puzzle piece really can only fit together one way. And so when you think about that, you know, you don't have to worry about being fast. And again, technique is its own world. And you could have the greatest technique in the world, and if you can't see anything on the guitar, you still can't play, right? So all of these pieces are important to the bigger picture of guitar playing. You know, technique and theory and visualization and all these things. But I think in the beginning, visualization is really important, because if you can learn to see it, you can learn to play it. You can learn to manipulate it, which is what, you know, learning how to solo or write riffs, whatever it might be, is my ability to move around inside the box or the position that I've learned, you know, to make something creative with it.
You're just amazing. I want to mention a couple of things, and I want to ask you a question.
Sure.
Um, Guys, if you're just now joining us, this is part of our Fretboard workshop series that we're doing here. And if you would like to make sure you don't miss any of these, make sure you subscribe to the channel and turn the notifications on. We send out a little notification thingy that hey, we're going live at this time. If you're enjoying this, you might really like Steve's Unlocking the Fretboard Connection course. That's Unlocking the Fretboard Connection. That is available at guitar-Zoom.com, where he walks you through the pentatonic scale, the diatonic scale, and how all this stuff goes together. It's a complete course. It's one of our most popular courses ever. There's also Fretboard Mastery, which is an excellent course. You can check that out. All that stuff is available for you there at guitar-Zoom.com. I wanted to mention, Steve, before I forget, that we have there's a video, guys, if you can watch right here on YouTube, that I think now has over like 8 million views. You can just go to YouTube and search up Learn to Solo in 5 minutes. I think it's Learn to Solo in 5 minutes. And the irony is it's a 15-minute video, but the title of it's Learn to Solo in 5 minutes. It's like 8 million views. And I just actually rewatched that video over the weekend. And it was fascinating because you teach how to take not even a complete pentatonic pattern or position, but just a portion of that pentatonic pattern, and then use it to kind of riff into solo with just like, the middle part of the first position of the pentatonic scale. So guys, if you haven't seen that video, definitely check it out. But I also wanted to just amplify what you said, Steve, when you said, it'd be better for you just to really know the first pentatonic pattern really, really well. That's going to serve you better than knowing all 5 kind of halfway.
Yeah, we're consumers, so we consume a lot of information, and the problem is that most people, I can't even tell you how many people I've taught through my lifetime. I started teaching when I was 17, and it's always been busy for me. And the thing is that people love new information, and I totally get that because I do too. But it's very easy to get overwhelmed. And then you wind up with a bunch of stuff that is cool, but you have no idea how to actually use it or to create a path from step 1 to step 2 to step 3 to step 4 and that sort of thing. And if you're cool with not having that, then it's fine. Again, my job is never to tell anybody they're doing anything right or wrong. It's just, are you having fun? Are you enjoying the journey? And it doesn't mean that it doesn't get frustrating sometimes. Of course it does. But is it making sense? Like, are you getting to the places that you want to be? And if you're there, then who cares what anybody says? You can deny the rules all you want as long as you're enjoying whatever you're doing. But if you're not, then you got to look at it and go, well, what am I missing? Like, what's not right here? Mm-hmm. And for me, because of the way I used to play, I played with blinders on. That's where I came up with that idea, is I could learn things, but I couldn't see a cohesive motion around the fretboard. And it was always so hard when I had to change keys or something to try and reshift the way I visualized the fretboard. And when I started thinking about them as blocks that connected together, it was much easier for me to start visualizing them.
Fascinating. Awesome, buddy. So where are you taking us from here?
That's all I wanted to say about this. Just a bit of information. What I would say for them is you certainly could continue on this conversation with multiple positions, but like I said, I'd rather you not if you're not ready for it. If you are ready and you already know positions 1 and 2 really well, then learn the 3rd position and connect that together. There's also a video out there that's really popular on YouTube where I talk about meandering. It's a common thing that I talk about a lot. And meandering is basically just learning how to shut your brain off and move kind of brainlessly through the position that you're learning at a particular tempo. Like, you just learn how to turn it off and set your metronome. And just learn how to move around without any thought, any preconceived anything, and just move around. And if you find that the only thing that you can do is go, you start realizing where your problems are. Or, for instance, you try and do it at a particular speed and you keep having to stop. Well, then you learn that what you're trying to do with this meandering, which really leads to improvisation, you're trying to do it too fast, right? practicing the scale up and down is always going to be faster than meandering, because meandering, your fingers don't know exactly what they're going to do. They're jumping over each other, skipping strings, who knows what. And so, you start learning where your problem spots are by practicing meandering. So I would strongly recommend looking up that video as well.
Very cool. So just in case somebody just joined us, Steve, and they're like, oh, dang it, I missed this session. A couple things, guys. This is going to be, once it premieres or whatever the term is on YouTube, it stays on the channel. So you can go back and watch this on the either Steve Stine channel or the Guitar Zoom channel, or may even be on the Guitar Zoom Songs channel. But just in case, Steve, can you just recap, give us a quick recap of just what you did in a very truncated version of what we talked about today in terms of the Lego connection?
Okay. So we
don't go through the whole thing again. Just be like,
okay,
there's these two patterns.
Yeah.
And they
So
connect
we learned that the first position, for instance, our first box, contains 5 notes, and those 5 notes get repeated in octaves. And in order for us to get around the fretboard, we've got to be able to play those 5 notes in other places on the guitar. We call those places positions, or patterns, or boxes, or whatever you want to call them. So what I had shown in this video is how we could take that first position, which I just played, and we could learn the second position, which is the same notes again, but learning how to visualize how those two positions connect together with kind of a membrane, if you will, where the first position is using the notes or the frets 5, 8, 5, 7, 5, 7, 5, 7, 5, 8, 5, 8. If we think about that position, we're playing a bunch of 5s, and we're playing 8, 7, 7, 7, 8, 8, which now I'm going through the whole conversation again.
Yep. No, this is good.
Okay, so that is the back side of the first position. Well, it's going to wind up being the front side of the second position.
Yeah.
So they have to line up. They have to overlap. If you didn't play a 6 in the first position, when you move to the next position, you're not going to play that 6 all of a sudden, because it would be a different pitch, which would put us in a different scale, different key, whatever it might be. So,
and the whole key, guys, is to make sure you understand that hinge, or that puzzle piece, or that Lego connection that we're talking about, is that they share a common thread, or membrane, as Steve's calling it, between the first position and the second position. And that is the thing that connects those two positions. And it's the same with all the positions.
Yeah. And it connects for me, it connects visually, but it also connects functionally, because as I move, it's through that membrane that I'm going to shift right through. I'm visualizing that membrane, and I'm moving. Now again, that's a whole nother level of study, but that's how I'm moving through there. And as I move through other positions, I can jump. I don't have to, acknowledge every membrane of every position. I can jump over multiple ones and go wherever I want. But that's, as I move around the fretboard, I see them all over the place, and I'm just there. I see all the connections, and I'm just moving through them and deciding what it is I want to do.
So cool.
Yeah.
And by the way, that horizontal movement, guys, that he just did all the way across that fretboard, that's something that I think is learning guitar players were like, I want that. I want to be able to move like that, right?
We've got a conversation on that coming. So
yeah. Horizontal movement. So if you're sitting there and you're thinking, yes, I want to learn that, you can go check out Steve's Ultimate Fretboard. I keep saying ultimate. It's Unlocking the Fretboard Connection is the title of the course. Unlocking the Fretboard Connection. It's an amazing course, and it teaches you all the pentatonics, all the diatonics vertically and then horizontally, so you can actually do what he just did right there, which is the fun of it. Unlocking the Fretboard Connection.
Yep.
Available at guitarzoom.com. Steve, thanks for being here. Thank you all for being here. Really appreciate your time. It means the world to me and to Steve that you would actually take time out of your day to be with us. That's awesome. Make sure you subscribe to the channel and turn on your notifications if you'd like to continue to receive notifications about these workshops that we're doing. we're going to be doing a few more of these. This is the Fretboard workshop. We've already done one on theory. We did one on blues. So make sure you subscribe and turn on those notifications if you'd like to join us for these. And by the way, these will also be available for you on the channel after they premiere. So you can go back and watch them as much as you want. You can check out any of Steve's courses at guitar-Zoom.com. We also have memberships available, a VIP membership. We have a Play Songs membership, which is all 100% dedicated to songs. And we have a masterclass, which is a deep dive, like a university level training on different topics such as modes, soloing, blues, home recording. Lots of great stuff to help you with the guitar playing. Guys, thanks for being here. Steve, you got anything else to add?
No, I think that's enough for today.
Sounds good, my friend. Thanks for being here. Thanks for taking time out. Thank you all.
Take care, everybody.
Talk to you later. Bye.